Okay, child. Now let's move on. Let's talk about Hannaford, who has revealed that she has canceled her This Is Me Now tour. Okay. And I know we have I'm sure we're gonna have a whole lot of stuff. Now, look, we've been talking about Jennifer. Seem like for the past couple of months, it seemed like every time I do a show, there's always a new tea about Jennifer Lopez. You know, the album did what it did, it flopped. The tour wasn't really touring. There seems to be trouble in paradise in regards of her marriage. You know, she's been dealing with a lot of stuff. But look, at least there was a silver line that came out of all of this. Um, Atlas did pretty well on Netflix, according to them. They said it did well, number one in, I guess, 67 countries. So people are watching it. I don't understand like the digital numbers and all the other stuff, but all that, what that all means. Because they could say one thing, oh yeah, it's number one, but by what standards? Because apparently y'all count in regards to like when we was talking about earlier, I forget who it was that said it, but they were like, oh, I was watching Atlas and I didn't like the film, but it was like I watched half of it or whatever and I had to turn it off. So Netflix counts all that. Apparently they count, oh, if you watch the movie for 10 minutes, you can watch the half of the movie. Like a lot of times they even count, like, I guess to wrap it, to sum it all up, they count as soon as you turn it on and how many minutes that you put in there, they count that as part of you watching it, even if you didn't finish the movie, which I don't agree with that. I feel like if you didn't watch the whole thing, that's when it should count. But whatever. So now we have word earlier today. Shout out to Raphael, who sent this to me in my messenger when I was on my way home from the gym, that J-Lo has canceled her This Is Me Live summer tour. And her reason for it, I had to give a huge side eye, but let's entertain it. So she says she canceled the tour to spend more time with her family and is heartsick over the decision. And so she announced it to her fans in her newsletter a couple of hours ago today, which would be Friday. Now, on Friday, May 31st, Live Nation announced that the singer's This Is Me Live is canceled because she is taking time off to be with her children, family, and close friends. She ain't said her husband. Because, you know, everything, when you're going to say some stuff, you should have at least included Ben in that situation, which leaves it open for us to interpret. So there must really be trouble in paradise. So they said Lopez released a statement to her fans on the JLo website and explained why it was a tough decision to make. I'm completely heartsick and devastated about letting you down. Please know that I wouldn't do this if I didn't feel that it was absolutely necessary. This is what Lopez 54 wrote. She continued, I promise I will make it up to you and we will all be together again. I love you all so much. Until next time. The tour was originally set to run from June to August in support of her latest studio album, This Is Me Now, which dropped in February. Now, fans who have already purchased tickets through Ticketmaster will automatically be refunded. For those who purchase through third-party resale sites, fans will need to reach out to the point of purchase for more details. In addition to spending time with her close circle, Lopez is currently celebrating the release of her Netflix film Atlas, which hit hit the streaming service on May 24th and has already reached number one. Okay, I'm sorry. I gave her a little too much credit. I said it was in the 60s. They said it reached number one in 55 countries. Still a big amount of people, a large amount of people who have seen it. 55 countries. Quiet as it's kept, I guess because I live in the United States of America, I didn't even know there was that many countries. But here we are. Now, this announcement comes on the heels of reported marital issues for Lopez and husband Ben Affleck. Though they were pictured together on Thursday, the couple have been living separately in LA while experiencing a strain in their marriage. Sources have told People she's been busy preparing for the now canceled tour and promoting Atlas, while Affleck has been filming The Accountant too. The two famously rekindled their relationship in the early 2000s in 2021 and married in 2022. Now, earlier this month, Lopez posed in front of Netflix's billboard in LA, extolling people to not mess with her. Now, together, Netflix and Lopez released an Instagram clip that began with her riding inside a car, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But here's the thing. I'm calling a bunch of damn BS on this. First of all, I'm not believing that she would want to spend time with her family and friends. She wasn't doing that before. Now all of a sudden she's doing it now. Now I understand, like, if she wants to take this time to work on her marriage, that would be great. But the fact of the matter is, Ben is currently filming The Accountant too. I don't know how many more weeks, if months, he has to go on shooting this movie. So I'm not buying what she's selling. It would be nice if, I mean, and then on top of that, summer's coming, right? So she could take the kids with her on tour if she wants to spend time with the family. I just feel like she's just not willing to admit defeat. And the fact of the matter was, people was not caring to see this tour. The tour was a mess from the jump. And I just feel like I feel like I've stretched out what all I needed to say in regards of, like, why the tour wasn't touring, why things weren't happening the way they needed to happen, or whatever the case was. But I just feel like at this point, people just didn't care about this upcoming tour. Or what it is the fact that um I feel like Live Nation is setting up a lot of these artists to fail at these arena tours. I like Jennifer Lopez as a performer. I feel like you cannot take that away from her. Yeah, she doesn't have the strongest voice, but the type of music she does is not required. Although she was, her ego, she did kind of jump into this point of, oh, well, I'm trying to be Miss Yang Yang Yang. Like, I'm trying to be like Shantae Moore. I'm trying to be like Mariah Carey. I'm trying to blow like those girls. And it's like, girl, first of all, you have half an octave vocal range. Stop trying to compete with them girls. Just stick to the rivers and the lakes that you used to. Your strengths are you're a dancer, and then you have to make those songs work around your ability as a dancer. So just stick with that. That's okay. We're not judging you on the fact that you have a limited vocal range. I mean, there's a lot of people that are, because they say that you stole Ashanti voice, whatever. They call you the Ursula of the music industry. And, we know the reads and the roasts and the gags, the things that we always say on this show. So I get all of that, but it's like, yeah, people want to see you dancing. People want to see Let's Get Loud. People want to see you do Get Right. People want to see you do On the Floor. And I feel like with this new album, instead of doing a whole record about Ben, Dear Ben Part 2 and Part 1, nobody even cared for Part 1. Why would you give us a sequel? And I remember, I think Robert sent me something, and I can't remember off the top of my head the whole details of it. But apparently, they released a 25th anniversary of On the 6th. I didn't even know that was that damn long. But I guess yes, 1999 when that album came out. That's doing really well on the streaming. So people like old school J Lo. That's what people want. People want that J Lo. People don't want, like, the new stuff. Now, I'm not gonna sit and say that as a fan of music that I don't like new material. I like new material. I like songs that come out with the new girls and other stuff. So I don't understand why people say, like, oh, well, we don't want new music. I like new music. If it's good, I'm gonna listen to it. I feel like at certain points people have to continue to build body of work to put out to be able to tour, or whatever the case is. Unless, I guess, you're a Madonna's caliber or Cher, when you can put out records for 4 decades, 5 decades, 6 decades. You don't have to put music out. But look at Billy Joel. Billy Joel's been touring his new music for years. But I mean, his old music for years. I said new music. His old music, because he's been making music for 50 years. But he also released a new single a couple of months ago. They premiered it during the Grammys, and he's been performing that on the tour. And people like it. But people should be allowed to create what they want to create. But this music just wasn't hitting. And I do agree, like, I feel like Live Nation, who I'm so glad they're being sued, because I don't like this whole monopoly thing that they've been doing. You're making it hard for artists to succeed in this day and age. And I feel like the same thing that they're doing with the movie industry is the same thing they're doing with the touring industry. They're doing these monopolies. They're price gouging people. People are like, the tickets are too damn high. I'll just watch it on YouTube, or like with the movies, I'll just wait until it comes out on streaming or whatever the case is, because tickets are too expensive. And what you're doing, instead of reducing prices or finding eventful ways to get people to come see these shows, you're price gouging the small group of people who still love going to see live entertainment. You're punishing people who still support movies and things of that nature. So I feel like that's what's happening right now. And the fact of the matter is, J-Lo is an amazing performer, but she's not arena material. She has not solidified herself in this music industry to be able to travel around the United States and abroad to sell out multiple dates of an arena tour. Jennifer Lopez did what need to be done in regards of a residency. I understand they were talking about, we talked about it the other day, the residency is in danger or whatever the case is. I feel like this is the perfect time for her to revisit that down the road. I do think like she is residency material. She could definitely do what needs to be done in Vegas. She is a Vegas girl at this point, I feel like. But if she decides to do another tour where she's traveling, J-Lo, you were not that girl where you could do arenas. I feel like you need to reduce yourself and you need to humble yourself to this point. And I know it's hard because you're a Leo and that ego is the size of a damn football field. But girl, you are Radio City material. I'm using New York analogies. You are Radio City material. I'll give you Radio City. I was going to give you the theater at Madison Square Garden, which houses at least 3,000 to 5,000 people. I think she could do the arena at Madison. I mean, she could do the theater at Madison Square Garden, which is a smaller venue. It's nice. It's intimate. It does kind of have like that Vegas-y vibe to it. So I could definitely see her doing something of that caliber there. Or, like I said, she could do Radio City. She's not somebody who could do an arena. It's the same thing I'm worrying about with Troye Sivan and Charlie XCX with the upcoming Sweat Tour. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that they can do Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden is not the issue. One night at Madison Square Garden, all the gays, all the gays that are living in Hell's Kitchen and Brooklyn especially will come out for Charlie XCX and Troye Sivan. The twinks and the hipster gays will be out, and the girls will be out to see them in that setting. However, when you go outside of those big spots like a Madison Square Garden, how will those tickets sell in other places? And I feel like that's what was hurting J-Lo. So one day at Madison Square Garden, the first night, she sold out. I feel like it should have ended there, but the ego got too big. She's like, and I'm sure the people were like, oh, let's see if we could do another night. So she was going to do 2 nights. The second night was where the strugglation happened, and she wasn't able to really bring people in for that. So that hurt her. And so while I like the fact that you want to sit and say, oh, I want to spend time with my family and friends, I don't, girl, I don't understand how you're going to use your family and friends as an excuse as to why, you know, well, what was I going to say? I almost lost my train of thought. It's like, I don't know why you want to use your family and friends as an excuse as to why it is that, you are canceling the tour. Just say it was because of low ticket sales. Or I guess maybe she doesn't need to say it. We already know that it's because of low ticket sales. And sidebar, there was another story that came out that I forgot to mention on the show, but I'm going to say I don't believe it. First of all, there was a story that came out from In Touch magazine where they said that Mariah, Madonna, and Lady Gaga are getting off on Jennifer Lopez's marriage pain and what's happening with her career right now. So according to In Touch, they said J-Lo is getting zero sympathy from her enemies in the entertainment business as the likes of Mariah Carey, Madonna, and Lady Gaga are feeling schadenfreude over the Atlas star's career and marriage woes, saying here's the thing. I believe Mariah the Mariah part, because we already know about Mariah. We know Mariah cannot stand Jennifer Lopez because of the stuff that came out between her and them in the past, with the fact that people believe, especially Mariah, believes that J-Lo is a plant brought to the industry by her ex-husband, Tommy Mottola, and was put into place to try to sabotage Mariah's career back in the day. When Mariah was doing more like the sampling with music and kind of doing that silky Ashanti-esque type voice that Mariah was doing with a lot of her songs, but using a lot of those old school samples and stuff and over a hip hop beat and all that other stuff. And when Mariah was doing that, Tommy Mottola had J-Lo work with Ja Rule and Irv Gotti on a couple of songs, and Ashanti talks about it where Irv Gotti was trying to take a lot of the songs that Ashanti wrote for herself to be for Jennifer Lopez. And I forget which song it was, but Ashanti said, oh no, at that point, she had to put her foot down over one of the songs that Irv was trying to get for J-Lo again. And there's been a lot of the stuff in the industry going on that people who are in the industry were taking songs from other people and using, because they knew how limited J-Lo's voice was. So they would use a lot of the backing track and the demo tracks and all the other stuff, the vocal and stuff on there to kind of mask over or layer, a stack, if you want to call it that, the vocals of Jennifer Lopez. And they would leave whole choruses on it. That wasn't even J-Lo's voice. See, at least when Madonna did Like a Prayer, we knew her vocal limitations. When the gospel part came on, we knew that wasn't Madonna, and Madonna's never made any qualms that she would sit up there pretending that was her voice. She gave credit where it was due, which is why she never got sued for that. But J-Lo has always been haunted as being known as the Ursula of the industry. So yeah, I don't believe that one. But then I saw the picture of J-Lo taking a picture on the red carpet with Lady Gaga. But then I was like, why would Lady Gaga have beef with um J-Lo? And then also, let's not forget this, because I don't know if y'all remember, but once upon a time, way back in the day, J-Lo did an interview. I think it was an article. She did an interview with Movie Line where she criticized a number of actors. This is back in '98. And she threw shade at Madonna. And she threw shade at, I guess, Lady Gaga. But anyway, here's what the quote. So it said, "Do I think she's a great actress? No, acting is what I do. So I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that. I can act. I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft," the Hustler star told the now defunct publication. Jennifer claimed that she was joking. No, she wasn't. She and Madonna are both Leos. She was not joking. Lady Gaga, they said, isn't a J-Lo fan either. She doesn't feel threatened by her, but things have always been catty between them, so she's enjoying her fall from grace. This is what the source said about the Oscar winner's feelings toward the on the floor singer. Well, I need examples. I'm like, what is it that, why there's been a little cattiness? Because we saw the picture that they took together at the Grammys, but then again, when it comes to Hollywood, you put on a united front, even if you don't like the bitch, in certain situations. But here's the thing. Now, Jennifer Lopez wasn't wrong when she said Madonna can't act. Yes, Madonna cannot act. I think we've come to that conclusion. Neither can Beyonce, but Beyonce, has stuck to the rivers and the lakes that she's used to, and that's music, and that's fine because as part of acting, that's a part of yourself that you have to relinquish control when you're an actor. But look, at least y'all got something. There's something in common. Madonna's a better singer than Jennifer Lopez, and Jennifer Lopez is a better actress than Madonna. So here we are. So in regards to that story, I don't buy it. I don't know. I need more details on the reason why Lady Gaga and Jennifer Lopez don't get along. I could see why Madonna doesn't get along with her because, J-Lo threw the shade. And then she tried to say she was joking. Bitch, no, you weren't. Stand on business. Like, if you said what you said, own it. And the whole thing with this whole tour, I really wasn't expecting her to cancel. I'm actually, shocked but not surprised because I'm like, yeah, she didn't. Yeah, I guess that's what it is. Like I'm when when that story came out, I was like, oh, I immediately got to go live with this. But I'm like, yeah, I'm surprised. I didn't think that she would go through it. I guess is what I'm trying to say because I didn't think she was going to go through it. I felt like she was going to be as stubborn as a mule and she was going to push through. But to wrap all this up, what do I think she needs to do to revive the career? I do think that what she needs to do is a Vegas residency. I think she needs to revisit that. If she decides to release any more music, stay away from the ballads. I've been saying that for the longest of time. Stay away from the ballads, stay away from the mid-tempo tracks. Your voice does not support that type of music. You need to stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to, which is dance pop and the Latin pop stuff. Lean more into your Latin side. I mean, reggaeton, Latin pop, that whole genre is it's huge in America. You need to lean more into that. Lean more into your side. Stop trying to be a white woman. Just because you married a white man don't necessarily mean, like, we get too many Latinos out here that run around trying to act like y'all white. You don't need to do all of that. We know you Puerto Rican. You also like to remind us every 10 seconds that your ass Puerto Rican. Bitch, we know. And we know you from the Bronx, too. You ain't visited Castle Hill in over a decade, but we know that you from the Bronx. So you don't need to keep reminding us. We don't need to keep reminding us you're from the block. Whatever fucking block that is. You don't need to keep reminding us. But to revive the career, go back to doing the residency. If you decide to do a tour, do smaller venues. Humble yourself. At least when Kylie Minogue came here, she learned to do that. She did her arenas and stuff overseas. But when she came to America, she knew she was not going to set herself up for failure. So she did smaller venues. And the people came out in droves and it was successful. Sometimes we need to humble ourselves in this world of entertainment. But I just feel like I've said this so many times. Americans have these huge ego problems. You don't want to admit defeat, but I'd rather admit defeat and say, like, you know what? We miscalculated, which is what the Black Keys said when they tried to do the arena tour thing and they quietly canceled their thing because it wasn't selling. Sometimes you got to admit defeat, like, we miscalculated the situation. Our arena tours overseas did way better. We expected it to happen here, and it didn't. So at least when you do that, I'm with you. Instead of coming up with a lie tomorrow, I want to spend time with my family and friends. What makes you think Max and Emmy want to spend time with their mother? When you in your teenage years, the last thing teenagers want to do is be around their damn parents. I know when I was that age, I didn't want to be around my mother and father all the time. I wanted to be out with my friends having a good old time and being a teenager because they're 16. So I'll say this, I feel like I've exhausted this whole thing. I don't think I have any more to add to this story, but I am curious what you all have to say about this. Are you guys surprised that the This Is Me live summer tour has been canceled? What do you think that Jennifer Lopez needs to do to revive her music career? Maybe, like I said, stick to the rivers and the lakes that you used to, the genre, like Latin pop and dance pop. Go more into that. And, do smaller venues. It doesn't hurt, but like I'd rather look as the GQ article said, because they did an article recently. Robert sent it to me in earlier this morning. I was reading it on the train. I would rather play to a smaller venue that's packed than a arena that is half full. So I would rather do that than be embarrassed with the latter. So let me know what you guys think of this story down below.